For centuries, medieval bestiaries have been seen as curiosities, strange books filled with dragons, unicorns, griffins, and other improbable creatures. They were drawn with distorted proportions, impossible behaviors, and stories that defy modern logic. At first glance, they seem naive, almost childish, too fantastical to be taken seriously. But what if that impression is wrong? What if bestiaries were not books of fantasy at all, but symbolic maps of the human soul? Today, we go beyond dragons, beyond fangs, wings, and legends. We uncover the true purpose of the medieval bestiary, a complex symbolic system that taught people how to live, how to act, and above all, how to be saved. When we hear the word bestiary, we imagine a catalogue of monsters, a fantastical zoo filled with unreal creatures. But for a medieval reader, that was never the point. The bestiary was not a book about animals. It was a book about people. In the Middle Ages, the world was not understood only by what was seen, but by what was signified. Nothing existed by chance. Every stone, every plant, every animal, real or imagined, was part of a greater divine order. The modern mistake is reading these books literally. For the medieval mind, the literal meaning was only the surface. The true meaning lay beneath, and this is where the bestiary reveals its real power. So, if bestiaries were not encyclopedias of monsters, what were they? They functioned as moral and theological guides, disguised as stories about animals. Each creature represented something larger, a virtue, a vice, or a spiritual truth. The lion was never just a lion. The unicorn was never just a pure creature. The dragon was never just a monster. They were living ideas. The Middle Ages thought in Allegory. To understand the world, one had to learn how to read symbols. Animals, observed, imagined, exaggerated, became the perfect language for this way of thinking. Let us begin with a few examples. The pelican. Medieval bestiaries claimed that the pelican wounded its own chest to feed its young with its blood. Biologically false, symbolically powerful. The pelican became an image of absolute sacrifice, a direct reflection of Christ, offering his own body to give life to others. Whether this was true in nature did not matter. What mattered was its spiritual truth. The ant, by contrast, symbolized diligence. It worked without rest, storing food for the future, while others wasted time. To the medieval reader, this was a silent warning. Prepare your soul before winter arrives. And then there is the unicorn, perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. Today, it represents fantasy and innocence. In the Middle Ages, it was a paradox. The unicorn symbolized perfect purity, yet it could only be captured by a virgin. This was an allegory of the Incarnation. Christ, untamable and divine, choosing vulnerability, purity, but also danger, beauty, but also sacrifice. Each creature functioned as a moral compass, a visual guide for how to live and what to avoid. Not all lessons were gentle. The dragon, T-winged, devouring serpent, represented chaos and sin. Evil that enters quietly, almost unnoticed. But the dragon was also a test in bestiaries. The dragon does not exist only to terrify. It exists to be confronted. The external monster reflected the internal one. Sin did not come only from the outside. It was born within the human heart. To defeat the dragon was to defeat oneself. Hybrid creatures carried warnings as well. The manticore, half man, half lion, with a venomous tail, represented moral duplicity. Human on the outside, beast within. Over time, a deeper pattern emerges. Bestiaries did not teach isolated virtues. They offered a complete architecture of the medieval soul. The phoenix, which dies in flames and rises from its ashes, was not just a beautiful story. It was a promise, resurrection, life overcoming death, hope beyond the end. The lion, said to sleep with its eyes open, symbolized Christ, vigilant, present even in silence, present even in the tomb. Each creature occupied a specific place in a spiritual journey. Fall, struggle, sacrifice, redemption. The bestiary became a symbolic mirror of human existence itself. Most people in the Middle Ages could not read complex theological texts, but they could listen. They could see. They could remember images. Bestiaries were spiritual pedagogy. They transformed philosophy, theology, into stories that could be seen, imagined, and remembered. Abstract ideas became unforgettable images, and they worked. So why does this still matter today? Because we still live surrounded by symbols. Our films, our heroes, our villains, they all carry ancient archetypes. The dragon still exists. The phoenix still rises. The hero still confronts the monster. What has changed is not the symbols, but our ability to read them. The medieval world reminds us of something important. Symbols are not decoration. They are language. And perhaps by returning to these ancient best, we may discover they still have something to teach us. Not about monsters, but about ourselves. The modern world no longer has but we still live among symbols, allegorical stories, and invisible battles. The question is simple. Do we still know how to read them? If this journey beyond dragons intrigued you, consider exploring more forgotten symbols of the past, because sometimes to understand the present, we must relearn how the ancients read the world.